people love planting tomatoes, and these days the trend is to go back to heritage tomatoes. So we've come to see Marsha Goldberg, who plants a lot of these varieties. Hi, Marsha.
Hi.
Now, Marsha, you've got a huge number of these heritage varieties. Why do people want to go to heritage variety tomatoes?
Flavor, flavor, flavor.
Okay.
That's basically one of the reasons I was attracted to it. Also the fact that a lot of these are endangered and really deserve to be preserved.
Okay.
So that's part of my feeling behind it. But really, some of the flavors that these fruits produce are unbelievable. You'll never go back to store-bought once you start these.
Okay. Well, why don't you've got a lot planted here. Why don't we go through a few? Maybe starting with this one. This looks interesting.
This is a Brandywine, which is one of the more famous heirlooms. A lot of people have heard about them. Dates back well over 100 years. Was brought over to North America from Germany by the Amish people. And they're normally beefsteak style tomatoes that are late season, absolutely delicious slicer.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Now, I know everyone's probably thinking you're cheating by looking at your map, but you actually have to map everything out.
I have to map all my varieties because I grow about 150 different ones here.
Oh,
so
okay.
I have to keep track of it.
What's this one?
The next one here would be Pink Ice Cherry, which is a huge, huge producer of oval-sized cherries, hundreds on a plant. Absolutely
Really?
hundreds on a plant. And the flavor is sweet with a little tart chaser. Absolutely wonderful. Fabulous for fresh eating.
Oh, neat. Now, you've got a bit smaller one in the back. What's that one?
Well, that's Pomme d'Amour. Now, Pomme d'Amour is a French heirloom, plus 100 years old again, that definitely comes from France. And it is a larger size cherry that has a bit of a kind of a pinkish red skin to it. Not as heavy a producer as the Pink Ice Cherry, but very, very sweet, extremely really well flavored, and produces through the whole season.
Ah, neat. Okay. Well, we've got one in the back now. Everyone's probably thinking they all look the same.
At this stage, they certainly do. Thessaloniki is a Greek variety, plus 40 years old, comes obviously from Greece, early, very disease resistant, and a small red tomato that's really a medium producer, but not an overly huge bush.
Oh, okay. And the next one over there?
Let's see here. We have another Brandywine, which is the pink Brandywine.
Oh, okay.
And the pink is probably the most famous. I've worked with it for the last 10 years. A lot of times the Brandywine tomatoes have a tendency to do what is called cat facing. They get very irregular bottoms on them. And it's not that great. And that's one of the reasons why the hybridizers were trying to get rid of some of these bad characteristics. But by naturally selecting and finding smooth bottomed fruit, I now have created a plant that does only smooth fruit.
Ah, well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's this one here?
We've got Yellow Mortgage Lifter, which is fabulous, fabulous yellow beefsteak that produces like a mad fool. I mean, I've never seen a plant produce as many large fruit as this one has.
Wow.
And a beautiful, not quite lemon yellow, not quite golden yellow. It's kind of colored in between, and they're a little bit flattened and not too much acid in them. So they're really good for people that don't prefer getting away from some of the acid in tomatoes. Okay.
Now, would this one be the other mortgage lifter? Because I've heard a few stories about that one.
Well, Radiator Charlie is very, very famous. And he was a farmer in the 30s who he actually crossed two heirloom varieties. And the tomato was so famous that people traveled from 200 miles around from his farm, and he was able to pay off the mortgage on his farm because of that. Wow. And that's why it was called Mortgage Lifter. We
all inspire to be like that, pay off our mortgages with tomatoes.
Absolutely.
What's this one here?
Well, let's see, what have we got here? We've got another Brandywine. Actually, I have a huge collection. There's about 10 that I grow.
Okay.
And this one is a smaller fruited. It's dark.
Yeah.
And very, very more production and a little faster to mature. Some of the Brandywines are very, very long.
Okay. This one's pretty. This one's doing quite well.
That's Salt Spring Sunrise, made famous here by the James Seed Company in the 30s on Salt Spring. Does extremely well in our coastal conditions. It's a determinate plant, so that means it only produces its fruit and then dies off.
Oh, okay.
An indeterminate plant is one that is a big vine.
Just keeps going and going and going. Yeah. Okay. What's this last one here?
Well, we have Gold Dust Orange, which is a wonderful golden orangey colored saladette tomato, which is actually golf ball size or a little larger, and very fruity. Almost like pineapple flavored.
Ah, neat. Well, Marsha, we have many, many more to cover, but you've really touched on some wonderful plants. I really thank you for letting us come out.
You're very welcome.